Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Life with Goldie podcast, where we travel around the world talking to all the Golden Hoodie recipients about their journeys in the trailblazer ecosystem. I'm Mia Pacey, also a Golden Hoodie recipient, but today we're joined with Karmel James. Thanks for joining us, Karmel.
Thank you, Mia. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for coming. And I think I said your name right, but I think you said you also go by another name in the Salesforce ecosystem.
I do. So my name is pronounced Karmel with the 2 syllables, but sometimes people, depending on their accent and if they're just reading it too fast, will go caramel
Nice.
or caramel, which is all, it's like all good. And at a certain point I was like, cool. So none of those are my name, but I need something that's easy for people because sometimes they'll still they're like, I just really want to call you Karmel. And I'm like, that's fine. How about we just go back to its original form? Hi, I'm Sugar.
That's a good one. Break it down, just back down to its molecule. I'm Sugar. I love it.
Exactly. Caramel is just hot sugar, so I'm just hot sugar.
That's good. No,
it's sometimes awkward, but I'm like, that's cool.
Nah, own it. That sounds awesome. I love it. So you got your Golden Hoodie in 2022, and I just wanted to kind of in the Golden Hoodie podcast, we talk about how people got here. Where did they come from? Would you be able to take us through your journey? Where did Salesforce come into your life?
So my journey started when I graduated college and I was like, cool, I'm a chemist, right? My degree is in chemistry. And I'm like, awesome, I'm going to do some science stuff. And I couldn't figure out what science things I was going to do. So I was like, all right, well, you need a real person job. You don't just get to stay at home and just do nothing all day. So I started to apply to these jobs, and there was one science nonprofit that I was like, I absolutely have to work here, right? I might not be practicing chemistry, but I absolutely want to work here. And I did. I got the job and I started working there, just doing a lot of administrative work. And it was my first introduction to technology. So I was just doing Google stuff, right? Administering our Google account, figuring out other small little tech tools, until one day they were like, hey, by the way, we got Salesforce and we already had a consultant come in and help us implement it, but we don't really have anybody else to run it. So here is your gift. I'd like you to take this on. And I was like, excuse me? What is Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
In the very kindest way possible. I know you kind of told me about this. And at that point, my supervisor had asked me to start doing some trails. So I did. I was on Trailhead. I was slowly doing it, but I still had never gotten my hands on it because I wasn't part of our implementation project. So it wasn't until she was right about to leave that I got Salesforce. And I was like, oh gosh. And I started looking at it. And I now know this now, but she had asked me to prepare all of our legacy data. And she was just like, clean it up. So I was until I got my hands on Salesforce. And then I realized what I was doing was my first data migration. And I was like, I really wish you would have given me Salesforce earlier. I would have cleaned this data a whole lot differently.
In a jiffy, yeah.
I spent 100 hours.
Wow.
No, I spent 100 hours cleaning data that I ended up having to redo all over again.
Oh boy.
Yes. So that was my introduction to Salesforce. It was just by accident. I was the only person on the team who was technical enough to actually, want to do anything with it. And then once I got my hands dirty, I was like, can I do all of this? All
Give
the time.
Give me all the power.
Yes, exactly. I know I'm supposed to be doing other work, but I did it and now I'm bored and I need more. So I'm just, is it cool that I just learn nothing but Salesforce and all the time? And so I did. I just, whatever work was not focused on my other roles, I just spent it reading help.salesforce.com, doing as many trails as possible, trying to learn NPSP, because I didn't learn Sales Cloud first. I learned NPSP, which I don't recommend that people do that in their order.
That's an unusual order of execution of learning Salesforce.
So I really thought all Salesforce instances looked like they had NPSP installed. I had no concept of you don't have household models outside of
True.
Salesforce. That was That was a little devastating. I was like, but I love my household model. It's so nice.
That's true. Yeah, it's very comforting.
Yeah, but I spent 4 years in the nonprofit ecosystem, just, doing nonprofit like things where half of your job is a real job and the other half was Salesforce, until I went to a Salesforce Saturday and I was talking to some people about the problems that I was having. And one of the people was like, you can always like transition to consulting. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, like we have so many orgs. And I was like, but I like my one.
Yeah.
Right? I get to just solve these problems. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to go. Bye. And I did.
Change my mind. See you later.
Yeah. I should preface, that was like a 4-month conversation, right?
Yeah,
of
being
like, are you sure I should do consulting? They're like, yeah, just go through the interview process. You absolutely don't have to make a decision. Until I got to the end of the interview process and they're like, so we want you to make a decision. I was like, what happened?
To not needing to make a decision.
Like
well, this is just fun and games, guys.
Thank you. Like you got me hooked and now you actually want me to leave my job. Of course I'm going to do that.
I mean, you sold yourself so well.
But I did. And then I've been in consulting for the last 3.5 years, just solving any problem that came my way. And I have not let go of Salesforce since. So
that's amazing.
That is, yeah, that does not include the amount of Salesforce Saturdays I've gone to, the number of DC nonprofit user group meetings, DC witness meetings, right? Women in tech meetings. There are probably some developer meetings that I went to just for fun. I'm not a developer, but I was like, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool people. I like them.
Yeah, I think I actually, like when we went into lockdown, I was like, where else can I travel virtually in the world to that goes with my time zone, sort of? And I ended up in a WIT DC meeting virtually. So yeah, maybe we were there. It was quite a lot of them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes, I'm not going to lie. I did not do well in the virtual space.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very much an in-person person.
Yeah. No, we're having a great chat
Yes.
virtually. Like we're very many hours apart. But no, I definitely enjoy that some things have brought a lot of the world a little bit closer together. So that makes it a little bit easier. So going back to the Golden Hoodie.
It is.
You got it this year, which is 2022, at your world tour, which is very similar to me. I got mine at world tour from my city. But would you be able to tell us, some people have witnessed them in person, online. What does it feel like from your perspective being presented, or the shock of this Golden Hoodie? What was it like for you?
I'm not going to lie. I wanted to cry, but I realized I was on camera and I couldn't do that. That was the immediate, like, raw emotion is like, you are not allowed to cry. Keep smiling.
Don't miss the makeup.
There's a camera on your face. Yes. But, so it was a complete surprise for me. I'm also a Salesforce marketing champion. And so I was working with one of the main stakeholders at Salesforce who runs product marketing. She's the director, Gilda Hilaire. Amazing woman. And she's like, hey, I would like you to speak at World Tour. So it started out as like, okay, cool. There's like a campfire session. And I said yes to this. And she was like, great. And then she's like, actually, we need to add on to that. And I was like, okay, that's totally cool. Yeah. And she's like, cool. So we're going to meet next week. We're going to like talk through this, right? I have no idea what's going on. I'm just like, yeah, I'll meet with you and a few other people. And like, we'll just talk about my story. And that's totally cool. And like how I got here and how I went from being a chemist to, a Salesforce administrator. And we're just going through the practices. And we get to the last practices, which is like 2 days before the actual event, right? I should say 2 business days.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the Thursday or Friday before, and World Tour was on Tuesday. And, they just casually dropped like, yeah, you should show up around like 8:00. We'll get you through hair and makeup. And then like, we'll get you seated. And I was like, why do I need hair and makeup? Like, it's just a World Tour. I'm completely dumbfounded. I'm just like, okay. And they casually drop like, it's during the keynote, right? We've been practicing because it's during the keynote, and I'm still not putting 2 and 2 together. I feel like I was just in denial about what was going on, about being selected to speak at World Tour during its keynote. I was just like, whatever, this is fine. I need to finish my, campfire presentation.
Yeah.
Like, this I can talk about. This is cool. And then I get there and I go through hair and makeup, and then I sit in the little seat, and world tour is happening. Like, I'm watching the keynote from this seat that has a little piece of paper with my name
reserved. Yeah.
And I'm just sitting. Yeah. And they beforehand told me where I'm supposed to stand. So I'm good. I'm waiting for the cue for them to be like, come on up. And they psyched me out. They were like, we're going to watch a video before we bring her up. And I'm like, you guys are killing me.
Yeah. That was my bit.
There are like 1,000 people here. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. Video ends. I get up and I start just telling my story. And I'm just imagining that I'm just speaking, right? We're just having a good time. Everyone is happy. The rest of the people do not exist. They don't exist at all. It's just me and Suzanne. And as we're getting there, she's like, okay, great. And I'm like, thank you. And then I go back to sit down. And then Chris gets up and she starts speaking. She's like, by the way, we actually can't let you sit back down, Karmel. And I've actually already taken the handheld microphone. I have put it down. I am like, I am
committed.
Done.
Did my set.
Thank you. I'm like, kick my feet up. We're out.
Yeah.
I just have to sit here with a smile on my face because, like, there are cameras around. And she's like, no, come back up. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, do I take the microphone? Whatever. I'll just leave it. I don't need it. They didn't tell me about this part. What am I going to talk about? And as I'm walking back up to meet Suzanne and Chris in the center of keynote, I see this guy. He is picking something up from behind one of the seats. And I see it, and it's a gold hoodie. And I just have to, like, I'm just repeating to myself, keep your face, like, there are cameras on you. Just keep it. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. There's a gold, what, but, like, are they going to give it to you? But, like, no, you didn't do enough for this. Okay, smile. There are cameras. This is literally my train of thought. It is so bad. Until they're like, but this is yours. And then they put it on me, and I had to let it all out because I was just like, this is everything that you work for, right? Like, and you guys chose me, and I have no idea. This is a true surprise. And if you ever go back and watch the keynote, because it's recorded, it's one of the few that are on Salesforce Plus. Don't worry, I have not watched it yet myself. I know that there's consciously a moment where I kind of do like a little, like it's mine, but also kind of like freaking out, like, oh God, it's mine. The power has been bestowed upon me. I don't know what to do. That's a very long way of being like, I almost cried and cheered like a little girl.
Yeah. And then you got back and kicked your feet up and you're all hunky-dory for the next set. But you're like, be cool. Still cameras on you.
Yeah, be cool. I had some people behind me. Rebe, who is one of the co-founders of Pep Up Tech, she was sitting behind me. Gilda's sitting behind me. I could see other people from WIT DC in the and they're like pointing at me, and I'm like pointing out. Like, it was just a whole moment of just like, be cool. Keynote's not over yet. There are still cameras. Yeah. You can't have a full freak out just yet.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. That's so much fun. Thank you for sharing that with us, because you took us through the moments so well. And even now, I've still got goosebumps. Like, that was amazing. I loved it. So we spoke about all those people in the Trailblazer ecosystem and the community that have helped or meant something to you. How has the Trailblazer community, how important has it been to you? Like, how much role has it played in your journey?
It's played 98% of a role in my entire journey. I honestly know that while I recognize, I know my stuff when it comes to Salesforce, right? Like, I am very happy to sit down, roll up my sleeves, right? If we need to bust out a flow, let's flow it out. If we need to come up with a solution, let's do it. But also recognize I can't be like this if it wasn't for the other people in the community who were there along the way to just say, hey, I think you should go talk to this person. So go, right? Or like, I want you to come with me, Charisse Van Loo, to Salesforce's, Witness Success Conference in Denver, right? She literally, we had just met, and she's like, I like you. Why don't you just come with me? The conference is in like 3 weeks. I was like, I don't know that I can get approval to just like up and leave for 2 weeks or for 2 days to go to a conference in 3 weeks. She's like, just just ask. Here's some like language to use with your boss. If not, just say you're taking personal days and come with anyway. Like, I'll help you pay for it. Don't even worry about it. Literally, that was the conversation. And she's like, I need someone to co-speak with me anyway. You seem to like speaking. We're going together. And that was it. But like, to get to that point, I have to recognize that Michelle Voss, she was someone who I met at World Tour DC, and she was the one who introduced me to WIT DC. She was like, I'm going to WIT DC. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes. We're now new best friends. We kept running into each other. We didn't know each other before World Tour, but we kept running into each other. And we're like, so clearly this was destined, right? Right now I'm currently dog sitting for someone. His name is Chris Zulo. He's at the beach, but I'm dog sitting in his house. And like, honestly, there are so many people. Rakia Finley, Leandria Streeter. It's not Skeeter. Leandria Streeter. I know, terrible. I'm just talking so fast. But there are literally so many people who I can name, including Gilda, who each of them came into my life at a point where I wasn't necessarily sure of what I was trying to do or had any real direction, but simply seeing them be them and having that ability to ask them questions and just kind of watch them shine in their light was enough to just unconsciously tell me to do the same. And it's why I currently wear a crown on my head, because why not?
Yeah. No, tell us more about that crown. Where does it come from?
This is actually Chris's son's crown.
Oh, nice.
So it's technically borrowed, but I'm working on trying to keep it, but I don't think he's gonna like it.
Yeah.
Like, his son has already had some issues of like, I can't believe you took my crown to Dreamin' in Color. And I was like,
you noticed?
It goes with the, well, I might have sent a picture and I'm like, but it also goes with the hoodie. Like, it's a gold crown.
It's a gold crown. Yeah.
I've got a gold hoodie.
No, you're rocking it.
We all should be getting gold crowns with the hoodies. It makes us a little bit like royalty, but it's also just really cool. I mean, how many people just walk around with a crown on their head?
Yeah, I mean, because the golden
you just gotta
hoodie,
shine and be you.
It doesn't make us stand out enough. We need more.
We do.
No, that's cool.
More gold. Next up is gold sneakers. Like,
yeah,
gotta go all out.
Well, I definitely went all out. I did actually bedazzle my sneakers with gold at my world tour, so that was super fun. You can see that on Instagram or Twitter, guys. But I wanted to kind of pull us back to that moment where you said you found people in the ecosystem and they came to you at each point in your career. Do you think that that was something, obviously you weren't doing it consciously. So what recommendation would you give to people so that they could potentially have similar connections?
Well, I mean, first you do have to show up. That's the first step. Otherwise, these serendipitous moments can never happen. But also look at every single time that someone talks to you as an opportunity, right? So I like to say that I'm very thankful and grateful in my life that anytime someone has said, hey, I think you'd be good for this, I did my best never to say no to the opportunity, right? I would position it as like, okay, so how do I do this thing? Because something that I don't think is talked about enough is that in this community, we don't have to offer help, right? We choose to do that. And if we're telling someone, hey, I think this would be good for you, it's possible that whoever is giving you that advice knows something that you don't, and knows that while you may not be able to see it right now, if you go and do the thing that they tell you, you might see it in like a week, a month, right? Like, you'll find the value in what it is that you think you're looking for. So it's not just like, yeah, you have to show up, but then when someone tells you to do something, just do the thing, right? And if you can't, say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Like, I need some help and guidance to remove these barriers so I can do the thing that you told me to do. And that is enough for people to literally break out and be like, I got you. I will break all of the barriers, but like, you got to be in this place. And that's the best advice that I can possibly give anybody, just because it's you never know what can come up. And if you say yes to all of these people who have your best interests at heart and only want to see you succeed, you're likely to succeed then.
Yeah, that's great. Show up and make sure you take every opportunity that's presented to you, and just give it a go. Like you're saying, we don't all kind of just wake up out of bed one day and say, I want to be a keynote speaker, or I want to go in the middle of the keynote and just tell my story. We all can't just do that. We do have those gut-wrenching moments where it's like, ooh, I've just been asked to speak at this really big event, but I don't think I can do it. But people have asked you for a reason. You're right. They've also seen something in you that means that you can do it. So that's what the community's for, is to push ourselves and to help others.
Oh, absolutely. I've learned that this is called sponsorship.
Oh.
It's when someone chooses you to do something and put you in a place that you didn't think was possible, or in a room you didn't understand or know existed, right? They see, like you said, Mia, they see something in you and they're like, I'm going to pluck you from here and I'm going to put you here and I just want you to succeed. Like,
flourish.
Go blue. Go do some stuff, right? Versus a mentor who will help guide you, but they might not necessarily get you through that room. So shout out to Dr. Williams. I learned these two different things at Dreamin' in Color. I very much like to give credit for ideas that are 100% not mine.
But good that you've got a great memory. I'd be like, yeah, I heard this thing once at this place by this person. Well done.
No. That's usually how my memory works. I have to write things down, but I literally LinkedIn'd her like 48 hours ago, so it's fresh.
Oh, nice. No, that's awesome. So speaking of fresh, I guess, yes, your golden hoodie is quite fresh, but I do like to kind of dive into how it feels now versus before. Do you think after getting your golden hoodie, anything has changed for you professionally or personally? Like, what's it feel like now?
I would say probably it changed me most personally, and that it just gave me a little bit more confidence to say the things that I was already saying, but not shy away from them, right? Like, I love that this thing is reversible.
Yeah.
And anytime that someone's like, oh my gosh, can I touch it? I'm like, yes. And then I unzip it and I flip it around and I put it back to black and I zip it back up and I keep walking. And they're like, oh, it's reversible? And I'm like, yes, there's occasions where I want to be invisible. Like, I need anonymity. And also, I need people not just touching it without asking me first. Like, it's attached to a human. I will let you touch it, but like, you just have to ask to touch my arm. Don't just like come and caress my shoulder. Salesforce, we're a very open community, but I don't know about that. But I look at it as it becomes an example of everyone's story is unique and everyone's story is different. But this is just another platform to remind us that it's important to tell our stories. It is important to tell hard, honest truths of like, my hard, honest truth that not a lot of people know about is I went to therapy a couple of years ago. I experienced a trauma that I had just shoved down, and it was rightfully in a box that was buried until it grew a tree that started dropping apples on my head and causing problems in my life. And that, for me, getting this golden hoodie means I now have a platform to say, while everything looks shiny and gold and like perfect, let us not forget, like, that doesn't mean that I haven't experienced hardship. That doesn't mean that I haven't experienced pain, right? And I use it now as a platform to be like, we all need to be talking about the fact that like sometimes we experience bad things and therapy is helpful. Especially to underrepresented communities. I can say the Black community usually does not go to therapy. That's not a thing that's talked about. You kind of look like you're crazy. And so I use it as, nope, you need to go to therapy because these are just unhealthy things and you can't break a cycle that you're not willing to acknowledge exists.
Yeah, so, no, I love that. Thank you for being so open and talking about that. It's something that we do have to keep in the front of our minds, and I agree. I've also been to therapy, and I wish everyone could go to therapy because it is amazingly life-changing. I think that's the point, though, right? It does.
It is. It gives you so many new tools.
It does. Yeah, it does. So yeah, everyone definitely keep talking about it. It's not something to ever put in that box and grow that amazing analogy tree. That was awesome. Keeps dropping apples on you.
Yes.
All right, cool. So coming back to our journeys and where we all started, I know that was some great advice so far about getting out, show up, and definitely ask for yes to all those opportunities. But people that are starting out their careers, maybe even in similar circumstances for yourself, which is accidental admin, I think we refer to them as. What advice would you give new trailblazers out there?
Ooh, I think the advice is the same, but I will add on this nugget of just because you're starting out new in the Salesforce ecosystem, please do not discredit the years that you've spent in another industry. So I hear this a lot for career transitioners, that they're always like, oh, I've been in like service for 14 years, but I'm starting day 1, day 5, year 1 in Salesforce. And I'm like, so you have 15 years of service industry experience? I can teach you Salesforce. I ain't worried about that, but like lead with what makes you successful. And it's not just like, yeah, you don't know Salesforce. That's totally cool. We all didn't know Salesforce at one point in time. But people are happy to teach you that. Lead with the fact that you know your industry very well, right? That you know how this business process runs. You understand why you want those key performance indicators or KPIs, right? Understand that you know how to prioritize 2 different requests, so you're going to get a return on your investment, your ROI, right? You want the highest ROI possible. Show that you know how to make all of those other decisions, especially when it comes to project management, because that's a quick and easy way to get into tech without actually having to do the tech. I very much love being a technical person, but please, I can manage a budget, yes. Do I really want to? No, I can, but I don't want to. I want to do what makes me happy, which is build, right?
Yeah.
Hear these business processes. So if you're looking for a way, don't discount the number of years of experience you already have in the work industry. Like that is critical because it means you know your industry and you just need some people to guide you on Salesforce. And like, there's plenty of us. We will absolutely teach you.
Yeah, I think we're all like jumping out of our skins to try and help other people, especially in this ecosystem. Everyone in the Ohana is super helpful. Would you recommend, we talked about going to the Salesforce Saturdays. Do you think the Trailblazer community groups, everyone kind of mentions that's really good as well. But if someone's like quite not as confident with learning Salesforce, is the Trailhead and anything else, any other resources you'd recommend?
Well, I would say I do not just solely rely on Trailhead. I love Trailhead, but it's a great entry into just like understanding how this all works in the back end of setup, right? Starting to get that muscle memory for clicking through and having to find things. But if you're trying to go for a certification, I personally like Focus on Force. I like their exam or their practice exams. But like, if that's what you need, please go do that, right? There's different videos that you can watch. Obviously, ask anyone in the community, anyone who's like got your back, and if a person says, hey, yeah, reach out to me anytime, reach out to them. They didn't just tell you to annoy, like come into their life for no reason. They literally were like, I know you are stuck. Please come talk to me. Don't do that stuff alone. So reach out to them and then they'll be able to give you different resources. But part of learning Salesforce is also being comfortable understanding what is your learning style. Are you a tactile learner, right? I like to read and I like to write. That's how I learn. Are you an auditory learner? Should you just be watching and listening to videos all day? Are you practical? You just need practical application, which Trailhead is going to give you that. And then you just have to do all of the amazing trails. It's about knowing yourself. I think that with the Salesforce journey, it's not necessarily so much about Salesforce as it is us learning who we are as people and then finding what makes us shine and being comfortable being like, cool, this is my path. This is how it works for me. And I'm going to go find the resources or ask for resources from other people to say, hey, does this match? Like, do you have something that matches my style? And then from there, you're golden.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Pun intended.
And like, there's so many blogs, you're right. There's so many things out there on the internet. So many of the ecosystem have been like, I want to give back so much more, but people have stopped like listening or like that. And they now go online and they write blogs because that's what they're really good at. And so if there's like a word vomit of information out there on the internet about Salesforce. So definitely find what you're right. Find what works for you. And if that's reading, writing, visual, or talking, even networking and asking for mentorship, that's definitely find your jam. That's a good tip. So we've come to the point in the podcast where this is a fun question. If you're an animal, what animal would you be and why?
Easy. Snake. Slytherin. All the way. Get at me. I don't even care. Let's go. No one ever reps Slytherin, and I don't understand. I'm 100% wanted to be like Draco Malfoy's best friend. I was like, yes, I'm feeling all of this. Now, I recognize in the Harry Potter ecosystem, like, I understand what Slytherin represented, but like, I was all about the Parseltongue, and snakes, I feel like, are super cool. They're cold-blooded. They seek out heat. I love winter, but like, I always have a space heater with me.
Yep.
Everything has to be super hot. I do not like being cold. So like, me and snakes are there. Also, I really love the movie Snakes on a Plane with Samuel L. Jackson, because Samuel L. Jackson is just my favorite actor. So I just kind of follow his work. And that just solidified it for me. And Black Snake Moan. More snakes.
Okay.
I don't know what that says. I'm a very kind person, though. I'm nice.
Yeah, not shifty
snakes.
or slithery at all. No, you're talking to a full-blown blooded Gryffindor. Like, you can clearly see I'm very Gryffindor. So we're going to clash on that one. No, but that's awesome.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But like, that's what makes this, great, is like, everyone has their own unique things, and we're like, okay, so that's how you do it. I'm going to go over here and do it a little bit differently, but like, I still love you. I still love you.
Yeah, you do you. I'll be over here when you're done you doing you.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. That's the first snake we've had. So awesome. Loving it. Nate breaking out into the new creatures of the world. That's awesome. So as we round out the podcast, we open up the mic to yourself. So if you wanted to promote, reiterate, share, up to you what you use this time for, but it is open to you. Go for it.
Okay. First, I would start, therapy is hard, but definitely do it. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to tell you my story about that. But do not be afraid of what you don't know. One of my favorite phrases, also taken from someone else. This was not from me. It was given to me by my first supervisor, Erin. I remember, and she told me, you don't know what you don't know. So I don't know what I don't know, and I'm comfortable with that. When you are faced with a problem you don't know, take that time to identify what you do know, what you don't know, go research what you don't know. And then come back and ask more questions, which should include who, what, when, where, why, and how. I feel like that's just elementary school when they used to make you write those essays. Those were the things that they made you do. Keep doing those things. That's what makes you a great business analyst. Always wear a crown. If you feel a need, just put it on your head. You're a king or queen or jester, whoever you want to be it. And never dim your light for anybody else. There's a favorite quote that I have, but I can't. Her name is Marianne Williams. If you ever watch the movie Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson, starring Samuel L. Jackson, to summarize it in a very worse way, he basically says from this quote, when we let ourselves shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. So find your light, find the reason why you shine, because no one can ever take that away. And if you shine, other people should follow and letting their light shine. So keep unconsciously shining, or keep shining and giving people unconscious permission to shine away, which is what you've done, Mia. You've let all of us shine.
Oh, so that's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing your shine and your sun of like 1,000 suns, just the heat, the radiating heat. I love it. Obviously, snake, cold blood. I want heat.
Or it's just like I'm very pale and I'm a second sun, so I'm just reflecting the light.
That's great. That is what the moon is. The moon is just a hard rock that is honestly just reflecting sunlight to us, which is why we can see it. And that is your science tip for the day.
There you go. I'm a moon.
Did not study.
That is reflecting everyone else's light.
Moon.
We can work with it. We'll do it.
Mm-hmm. The science of life, man. The science of life.
This has got real deep. So thank you so much for coming on Life with Goldie podcast. I had so much fun with you today, and I'm glad we made this connection. So if anyone wants to hit you up, is it best on Twitter, LinkedIn? Where do you hang?
by all means, feel free to follow me on Twitter. It is just my name, Karmel, without the K and the L at the end. So Army, A-M-E. Sorry, no, I can't even spell my own name right. A-R-M-E. Yeah. J-A-M 44. Go ahead. And if you LinkedIn me, I'm going to give you the best tip I have ever given anyone. Do not hit connect. I don't know you, but you might know me. That's totally great. If you're on your web version or even on the app version, there's a menu button. Click on the menu button. It'll say personalize invite. Please tell me why you're connecting with me, right? Like, and do this for every single invite. This is the quickest and easiest way to get on people's radar and be like, how do I help this person? Because you've now told them why you wanted to connect with them. They didn't have to like go searching and be like, is this a bad decision if I connect with this random person where I don't know, like we have no friends in common and like, I don't know anything about them, but like, okay, connect. Okay, the world didn't die. All right, it was probably fine. But like, feel free to personalize your invite to me. You can Twitter me, you can LinkedIn me. If you happen to find my email, you can like email me. I'm totally okay with that. I won't give it to you on the podcast. But you know, like if you happen to find it, it's out there, but also just LinkedIn and Twitter me. These are very easy things.
Yeah,
but yeah,
perfect.
Feel free to reach out.
Thank you for sharing those things. And thank you for being a guest. Yep, we had a lot of fun. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mia. I loved it. I can't wait to hear the next podcast that comes out.